Fun fact, his ID used to be this. His ID used to be capital T, capital double G, and capital R. And then he name changed. I don't know why he changed his ID to all lowercase, but he used to have like a mixture of uppercases in there back in the day. But here we go. We're getting into our next matchup, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Zerg player, representing Berserker Esports, the Finnish Zerg. It is Mixu. But yeah, Trigger, he used to have capitals in his ID for like his first 2 years of competitive play, and then he switched. I should ask him, I guess. I don't. Maybe he was like, you know what? Screw all these uppercase and lowercase letters. It's too much. It's like, who am I? Hero Marine? Who am I? Showtime? Who am I? Innovation? Like, screw all this nonsense and just all lowercase. It does make it easier to remember. Recently, we've been casting more of European StarCraft. It took me a little bit to get used to spelling Showtime. Showtimes is easy. Showtime is the starting and ending letter is capitalized. Hero Marines is a lot more random. Shaking my like, there's no pattern to Hero Marines capitalization. Same with Innovation. But after typing the name so often in casting tool and in VODs, like you get used to it. But I'm shaking my head at these Terrans. Have a system. Have it make sense. Easier for him to decide his autograph. True. As we do have a hatch gas pool opening here from Scarlett, a very similar opener out of Mixu as well, so everything is looking normal. Again, we get our first mirror matchup here. Finally, Mixu gets a ZvZ. He wanted it earlier against Raynor. He was denied it. And now he's able to spread his wings and fly against the Zerg. I'm hoping so anyway. We'll see. Zerg vs Zerg is upon us. We're loading into Oceanborn. Oceanborn is a very aggressive map as well. Unlike some of these other maps, Oceanborn has a very exposed third base in a way. It's close together, that is true, but there's a ramp leading up, like, from the halfway mark in the center of the map. Leading up towards the third base, so there's no point of elevation. There's no, like, ramp or point of elevation that you can use to defend this third, which is why we see so much aggression on Oceanborn, especially around this third base. Just because the defending player has less of an advantage than they would on other maps. Meanwhile, Bailey Nest is thrown down. No one is cutting any corners. It's going to be a third base alongside a Bailey Nest from both players. So far, both Scarlett and Mixu are mirroring each other. And again, it's a mirror matchup. This is how ZvZ should be opened up here in the early game. Now, we should be deviating once we get our third up and running. You know, we'll see if anyone does make a mass amount of lings. We'll see if anyone tries to even rush into roaches, skipping upgrades, cutting workers. A big part of ZvZ, honestly, is whether or not you cut drones. It can be very difficult to scout, very difficult to confirm the saturation of your opponent, and sometimes if you over-drone, you can just die. You can just straight up die then and there if you do make too many drones, or not enough. Scarlett does test the waters across the map. We do have a Roach Warren on the way here for Mixu. Relatively early Roach Warren, which is not scouted, by the way. Meanwhile, Scarlett going for an Evo Chamber, will be going for eventually her delayed Roach Warren as well, I imagine. Mixu does slip into the main base, does get a full scout, getting eyes on the lack of gases, as well as the lack of Roach Warren. So a good scout so far for Mixu. Gonna be pulling back. Likewise, back at home. Now getting into his own Evo Chamber. Now this does mean that his upgrade should be delayed. Scarlett should be able to get into faster +1 range or +1 carapace. Meanwhile, Ling Bane is going to be moving out. Only one Baneling here for Scarlett, but she does have a bit of an overwhelming force. Again, it's all about the Bane control. All about the Banelings here from both players. One does go up, the other two still alive. 2 drones get picked off here in favor of Scarlett, so good pick off here overall. And with that, Scarlett does take a nice little economic lead. At the same time, we have our own link counterattack. And we will get 2 more workers. We get up barely 2 drones here. So we trade 2 for 2. Overall, good counterattack here from Mixu. He slips into the main base once again, gets eyes on the lair timing, gets eyes on the gases, and this time does confirm the Roach Warren was indeed thrown down just a little bit later. So a big scout here for Mixu. Does confirm. Behind this is building up on 3 bases. We are both droning. No one is cutting workers. We do have a couple of lings that are being active, that is true, but as long as we have good bathing control, we should be okay. Speaking of, Bailing waddles in, but does not get into the mineral line. Likewise, Mixu once again slips in. Causes a little bit of chaos here. Once again, scouting the natural at least, not the main. Yeah, we are just droning up, saturating. Both players getting up to 3-base saturation. That's going to be around 66 drones. 4th base is on the way from Scarlett. 4th base is delayed for Mixu. He is a little bit behind in that respect. Ooh, and we are going in very different directions. We have Mixu going into a spire, Scarlett rushing into an infestation pit. Oh my, okay. So both players taking in different directions. Both players going to be relying on Roach Ravager in the mid game. But we do get a surround here. We do force a cancel. We do cancel just in time. That was uncomfortably close. Oh my god. And this 4th base was already late. Remember, the 4th was already delayed here, which means Scarlett has a much larger lead when it comes to her 4th base timing. Now, we shouldn't, even when the 4th base is up and running, we shouldn't be droning up too much. Like, typically, 66 drones is a good enough economy here to sustain our army in ZvZ. And we are pushing out Roach Ravager. There we go with the fast infestation, but we have 3 infestors on the way for fungals. I'm loving this here from Scarlett, and we are getting ready for our push. Again, Scarlett, she's already at 66 drones, as we mentioned. We're done droning. We are cutting workers here at 66. We're making nothing but army, nothing but roaches, and infestors. Likewise, Mixu droning up a little bit more. Is trying to muster up his own army. Spire is done, but we don't have any mutas. And we are missing our moment here. Again, the longer this goes on without making mutas, I mean, the harder it's going to be to get into them. There we go. 4 mutas are on the way. Scarlett did not commit, is still waiting for reinforcements, and you can see the massive supply disparity already here. Scarlett did have the slightly better economy, was able to drone up faster. With this faster 4th base, we have better larva. Scarlett is pushing in. Scarlett up 20 army supply. The infestors have been revealed, and we're looking for a fungal. Mutas will help. Let's see, focus out those infestors. Good target firing here. We get 1 infestor goes down. We get the 2nd infestor, and now there's only 1 left. The fungal will barely connect. Good vials, but every single infestor does get targeted. Really good target firing overall here by those mutas. But is there enough to defend? We get into the middle line. Roaches are at the 3rd base. They're breaking into the natural as well. And it's just a numbers game at this point. The mutas, they helped, but alas, with not enough roaches, we are breaking through. Yeah, drone's going to be going down. We're pushing into the natural as well. +1 is done for both players, +1 range. But again, that's not going to be enough to stop Scarlett, as she's running out of steam, but 6 workers have gone down. We're camping the 4th base. We're hitting the 3rd as well. More workers are falling. And in a mirror matchup, losing this much economy is so difficult to come back from. The mutas can make some magic happen here if they can get across the map, but that's only if they can get across the map. It's going to be a kill on the 4th. Other drones, don't come back! They came back a little bit too soon. 10 more workers go down. And behind this, we have the Hydra Den. We have +2 range. Hydras are in production. Mutas would have had potential if there was no answer to them, but we have anti-air. We have Hydras. We have what we need. Yeah, Scarlett being in control of most of this game here. Overall, like, I want to commend Mixu for his scouting, that is true, but investing into this Spire and investing into the mutas wasn't necessarily worth it in the end. But even before that, it's like we saw that he did have a hard time saturating his 3rd and getting his 4th. These were things that he was behind it. He was 1 step behind when it came to getting up to 66 drones, and 1 step behind when it came to his 4th base, and small little details like that can be enough in a mirror matchup to just swing things heavily in favor of your opponent. As the mutas are chased down. Roaches rallying into the natural as well. Now, Hydras are not ideal against Roaches, but we have an overwhelming number. Like, we have plenty of Hydras to deal with this, even if it's an inefficient trade. Mixu just does not have enough. Number is not on his side. GG does get called, and Scarlett takes game number 1. GG. Honestly, a solid game out of Scarlett. There was nothing too fancy about it. Whether Mixu would have invested into Aspire or even just doubled down on Roach Ravager, regardless, he was kind of struggling and one small step behind Scarlett when it came to the macro, when it came to the droning, the economy, the bases, the production. Scarlett was just slightly ahead in those respects and did snowball into just a larger force overall. You could argue that maybe Mixu invested a little bit too much into Ling run buys and just Lings in general, which did slow down his droning, but here we go. Now we're getting into game number 2. Getting into game 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead, we have our Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have her opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. I'm kind of sad that no pro player has their actual legit name as a barcode. You mean just the word barcode or an actual barcode? I mean, that'd be kind of weird. I mean, I'd like to think players want to have their own identity. Maybe that's a thing like in other esports. I don't know. Is there like a barcode in like League of Legends or Dota or something like that? That's gonna be a thing, right? That's gonna be like an edgy thing for some kid to do. Be like, I am barcode. I am Legion. I'm sure that's gonna be a thing somewhere. Yeah. But now though, is going to be a standard hatch gas pool. Once again, standard openers out of our 2 players. We're loading into Hardlead. Hardlead is a much more aggressive map compared to Oceanborn. It is kind of one step further when it comes to the shorter rush distance, when it comes to the more exposed natural base as well, for these kind of big pushes. So we'll see if Mixu decides to be a little bit more aggressive here, a little bit more assertive. Again, the pressure is on Mixu to bounce back. Pressure is on. Like Lil, I said little ill. Oh my god. Shaking my head. You're giving kids ideas, Papi. Hold on, you know what? Wikipedia barcode. There you go. Barcode. There's a player. There's a lot. Oh wait, there's a lot of barcodes. There's a player called Barcode in Counter-Strike. There's a Hungarian player in Counter-Strike called Barcode. There's a player in Halo called Barcode. There's a player in Valorant called Barcode. And there's a player in League of Legends called Barcode. There you go. And in, what is Omega Strikers? It's a player in Omega Strikers called Barcode. And there's a Barcode in Heroes of the Storm. There you go. Fun fact, StarCraft 2, one of the only esports that doesn't have a player called Barcode. There you go. I was curious. There was one in Heroes, there's one in Valorant, CSGO, and Halo. And League of Legends. So, the more you know. The more you know. Apparently very common. As behind this, we're going to be getting into our openers. We do have our 3rd bases being taken from both players. We do have a Bailey Nest here from Mixu. Scarlett's going to be skipping her Bailey Nest here. Okay, bold move from Scarlett. Can be very risky. Very risky to skip your Bailey Nest. This means that Scarlett wants to rush into Roaches a lot faster, but it also means that if we do end up into Lingbane aggression, Scarlett will be at a disadvantage. Yeah, rushing into Carapace, this is Roaches. We're rushing into Roaches, so this is going to be an all-in out of Scarlett. Roach Ling can hit very hard, but before she can get into Roach production, Mixu has potential. Here we go for a massive counter-attack. A queen is going to get caught out. Nice catch here from Mixu. Our second queen is going to be a little bit greedy, and there we go. We're going to have to back off. Likewise, queens are knocking down some of these overlords. Bailing's going to be waddling on in. The Bailing's up. Scarlett does react, only losing 2 lings to that Bailing. Another Bailing does pop off as well. And again, Mixu is committed. We have 18 lings on the way. Mixu, he knows how vulnerable Scarlett is, and we are doubling down. Again, Scarlett needs a little bit more time to get into Roach production. A little bit more time. Mixu, though, going to be droning, throws down his own Roach Warren with +1 range. Does have a lot of lings on the field, but Mixu, he's chilling back at home. Papi. Okay, there we go. There we go. I was like, mate, we have all this army. We better use it. And it looks like we may be able to barely catch a queen. We barely do not. The queen does survive. Now Mixu is going to be pushing. The natural base is wide open. He's going to be testing the waters. Moving towards that third. It looks like he wants that queen. Finds it's not there. Does slip into the natural. And we'll get that queen. Yeah, slips into the main base as well. Roaches will have a harder time keeping up here with all these lings. And we peel off a couple of lings. Bailings are on the way. Let's go. Bailings are on the way in the main base. 4 drones go down. Good target firing. And Scarlett, she doesn't realize. She has not seen those Bailings. Roaches are amassing again. +1 carapace is on the way. There's going to be a big timing here for Scarlett with that upgrade. And we'll see when we go in. We're transitioning into Roach versus Roach. These Bailings, they lie in wait. And now we're well in. We're welling into the middle line, and Scarlett, she does react. Oh no! Oh my god. That was very close. Did pull back for a moment. We get 3 drones and a lot of lost mining time. No critical damage, but damage nonetheless. And with this, Mixu is ahead. He is ahead economically. Gases are being taken. We have +2 range on the way. Meanwhile, Scarlett has +1 carapace, but it looks like Roach speed was delayed here for Scarlett. Is now on the way. Scarlett can't really be too active here without it. Is going to be backing off. 4th base on the way. The game is going to settle, and Scarlett going for a Spire. Okay. It looks like Scarlett has realized and recognized as well. And recognized as well that in Roach v Roach, she won't necessarily have the advantage that she was hoping for just because she's been forced to stay back at home for so long. She did miss her +1 carapace timing. So mutas will be the answer, but we have Roaches slipping in. Roaches on one end, we have Roaches here on the other. Drones are going down. Scarlett out of position. It's going to be 4 dead workers, and we do get on top of the 4th base. Scarlett will sort away this army, but that's going to be a cancel on the 4th. I'm getting deja vu. A bit of a role reversal here, where Mixu was struggling to get into his own 4th in the last game. Scarlett, likewise here in game number 2. Oh, we're going for a Hydra Den. Okay. I mean, the Spire was scouted. Yeah, with the Roach run by earlier, the Spire was seen by Mixu. He's aware, and we have the Hydra Den on the way. The mutas will not catch Mixu off guard. So a big scout from Mixu. Scarlett should be aware she got scouted because of the Roach run by. It was very overt, a very overt scout. So we may only invest into a handful of mutas, and there we go. We have 6 mutas on the way. We shouldn't be making more than this. 6 mutas is enough to shut down these overlords and to get economic damage done. We're still hyperfixated here on Roach Ravager. This is still an expensive investment, and it has to pay off. We want Mixu getting into a superior army with a Roach Hydra. He has the potential to go into Lurkers as well behind this if the game goes on longer, which is kind of the ideal unit composition in the late game ZvZ. Mutas are pushing out. 4th base still not up and running. Likewise, there's no 4th from Mixu either, thankfully, for Scarlett. Mutas are revealed. So are the Hydras. Overlord's going to be going down. Mixu is going to be committing here. Does have an upgrade advantage. Mixu has +2 range. Scarlett is on 1-1. +1 carapace is not as impactful in a Roach v Roach. So the upgrades in favor of Mixu. Up in supply as well. 4 Roaches in production, but we shut down the 4th base. It does go down for a 2nd time. Scarlett waiting for reinforcements. Is expanding towards the top right. Muta's still looking for damage. But a good pick off here from Mixu. Gonna get another Overlord. Still amassing Roaches. We have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on the way. This is a really good way to counteract Mutas. Mutas are supposed to give you map control, but again, Tunneling Claw Roaches are a good way to counteract that and still be active on the map despite all these Mutas. Meanwhile, Mixu's a bit out of position. We have the main army pushing right through the center, and Mixu has a lot invested in this run by. Going for a big counterattack. Armies are going to be clashing. We have to avoid the Biles. So far, the Biles are avoided, and we ignore the 4th base. We're going for the kill. We're going straight for the natural instead. Roach one's going to be going down. Scarlett races back home. Scarlett is out of position, had nothing to scout, and we deny +2 range. Big pickups. The Roach Warren and the Evo Chamber. We get into the mineral line, and now Mixu can push with his main army. He can either collapse into the natural from behind or go for the 4th. We head towards the 3rd instead. There we go. Do push into the main army. Catch a couple of Overlords. Moving towards the 3rd base. Getting a Queen. Getting a couple of drones. Again, good pickups here overall. Scarlett has a large army, but the economy gonna be in shambles. Muta's still doing what they can. And Mixu still has Roaches. The burrow. These Roaches, they were burrowed. They were not scattered, but as we tunnel the Roaches out of there, we avoid the Mutas. We get 19 drones, and the economy here of Scarlett taking a massive blow. Again, really nice burrow movement overall from Mixu. The Mutas doing what they can. Tunneling for Roaches here in multiple bases. Pulling Scarlett apart. The Mutas, they do go down. The Hydras finally catch up. They finally shut them down. And now Mixu can focus on one big push. He is maxed out. Now Scarlett is also maxed. Bear that in mind. Both armies have reached that kind of critical mass. But Mixu has upgrades. He has +2. Scarlett has 1-1. So Mixu's army is of higher quality. And likewise, because of Scarlett's been losing so much here, we'll be having a hard time remaxing. As here we go. We have Roaches on the right-hand side. We get into the mineral line. Scarlett out of position. Here comes the army of Mixu. Scarlett racing back to the natural. I was not expecting this counterattack, and the concave in favor of Mixu. 10 workers go down. Still Roaches wreaking havoc here on the right-hand side, keeping a lot of supply tied up. Yeah, we do start a step forward. Oof, even some friendly fire with the Vials. And with that, it looks like we are going to be forcing an ace match. We are going to be taking us here all the way to game 3, as we just have not enough here to defend. The Roach army of Scarlett going to be crumbling here. And Mixu breaking through. GG gets called. Mixu ties it up 1-1. GG. GG. A very chaotic start to the game. To wind it back, remember, it all started with Scarlett skipping the bathing nest. I thought she was going to get punished a lot more than she was. Honestly, she was able to get into Roaches quite well. But we saw a lot of drones going down regardless. Not a critical mass, but like, I want to say like 10 or so, maybe 8 workers did fall, and Scarlett was kind of stuck at home defending. And as a result, we saw that Mixu had a lot of map control, had a lot of momentum on his side, was able to get into better Roach upgrades. Remember, he ignored Carapace, went into +1 range first, went into +2. He was perpetually ahead in the quality of his Roach army, and multiple times was able to catch Scarlett off guard with these run-bys, with these counterattacks, whether it was Roaches from one end, Roaches from the other. It was also a really big moment as well, I shouldn't gloss over it, when Mixu scouted. When he scouted that Spire, so he was able to throw down the Hydrogen. It meant that the Mutas didn't really do too much. They killed a couple of Overlords here and there, but they never really got the map control that Scarlett was hoping for, just because there was plenty of anti-air, just because the Spire was scouted. Mixu was able to handle that situation quite well. It was so risky when Mixu had that that big counterattack setup. I was really concerned that Scarlett was just going to commit and kill Mixu because he had so much supply elsewhere, but again, did force Scarlett to turn back around, and yeah, a lot of things went well for Mixu. And with that, we're going into the ace match, into game 3. Let's go. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have our red Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. Being forced into the ace match, it is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Berserker Esports, tying up the series 1-1, getting 12 pulled. It is Mixu. Oh boy. Let's go. We have a 12 pull here from Scarlett. Now, there are macro versions of this where you just expand and you take your natural, but there are also all-in variations of 12 pull where you pull the boys and you just send everything across the map with like a spine rush alongside it. So I'm imagining that this is going to be the more macro-oriented version. We can see Scarlett actually setting up the camera location hotkeys. So we should be expanding, but we'll see. We'll see how Scarlett is approaching this. As the pool is done, Lings are on the way. And yeah, we are expanding. Okay. So this is not an all-in, this is an aggressive opener though. The way this works is that Scarlett is going to be behind when it comes to gas. So link speed is going to be late. Usually when you get into your second base, you turtle up on 2 bases and you skip link speed, you go into roaches. Usually it's roaches from here, from Scarlett. But the goal of all these links, and we have 4 more links behind this, is to kill workers, is to get ahead economically. It's not to kill your opponent, it is to get an economic lead. It's going to be on Mixu to drone drill his heart out. It's going to be on Mixu to control his workers as best he can, to kill these lings, to buy time for his own lings and queens, and to minimize drone damage. He has to preserve his drones as best he can. Otherwise, Scarlett will get ahead, may even end the game. So Mixu has to save the space. He cannot force a cancel. He cannot give up on this hatchery. Hatchery does finish, and we should be pulling the boys. There we go. Drones are being pulled, and now this comes down to the micro. It comes down to Mixu preserving these drones and fighting against these lings. So far, the army is going to be engaging. We do pull back. Some of these drones taking a lot of hits already. One worker does get picked off. Good shuffling there by Mixu. Another drone goes down. Lings have arrived. We've bought enough time. And Scarlett wants one more drone up, and she will get it. 3 drones go down, and just like that, the worker count is even. 3 worker kills. If the control was any worse, then Scarlett would have taken a massive lead, but with this, we even things up. We're calm. There was potential for more damage, but Mixu does hold, and now the worker counts are dead even, and Mixu has a gas lead. So Mixu's in a pretty decent position here. Decent overall, as Scarlett is just droning up heavily here, taking a bit of a worker lead herself, up 2 drones. And again, the big disadvantage that Scarlett has is no link speed. No link speed, no gases. As I mentioned before, this typically leads into later gases and roach play. We should be going 2-base roach. Likewise, Mixu is going to try and confirm. The advantage that Mixu has isn't just his gas production, but also his third. He is free to take a third. Scarlett is stuck on 2 bases. Now, from this position, Mixu can opt to skip link speed. We have link speed on the way, but we may decide to cancel this. The reason for this is because even if we invest into link speed, Scarlett most likely is going to be skipping it. I say most likely, there is a deviation here where Scarlett could take link speed and go for a link flood and try to catch her opponent off guard. It is very common for Mixu in this position to skip the Bailey Nest, because it should be roaches, right? It should be roaches, so it's very common to skip the Bailey Nest. So there are some players like Dark and DRG, Raynor does this, like players, they mix it in, where if they see that you're skipping the Bailey Nest, they just link flood you. But we can see no link speed here out of Scarlett. We are not link flooding, we are just playing 2-base roach. 2-base roach here out of Scarlett. Lair is on the way. And again, Mixu has to drone his heart out right now and make sure that he does capitalize on his third. As we're getting into Roach v Roach. It looks like he is going to be finishing link speed, so it's just a very safe way to play. Not the most efficient. A lot of Zerg players will cancel this, but he will be finishing it overall. Just to make sure he's safe. Now this is going to work against him. This means that he's spending 100 gas in link speed and Scarlett isn't. Scarlett going to be spending that 100 gas in roaches. Third base is now being taken. It is far later than Mixu's, but now being taken now with the safety of roaches. And the game is going to be settling a little bit from here. Big scout from Mixu does confirm the lair timing, does confirm the gases. Just making sure that it's not 2-base Muta. 2-base Muta is very much so an option for Scarlett. So Mixu has to be very wary of that. With Link Speed, we can try to cancel that third base. A good way to make use of this. Lings have arrived, but we're in position. We have queens, we have roaches. We should be fine. Scarlett will hold on to this base. And these Lings weren't necessarily worth it. These could have been drones. And you can see Mixu falling behind in workers because he invested into these Lings. So again, not the best use of his resources. At the same time, going for a Ling run by, but alas, we are denied in the natural. Oof. Oh, we made a lot of Lings, actually. And yeah, this is why Mixu didn't have the biggest economic lead that he otherwise could have had. Still trying to make use of these Lings. At least containing Scarlett. See Mixu once again testing the waters. We have 1-1 on the way. Likewise behind this, getting to our own lair timing, getting to our own roaches. Mixu is going to be able to drone up a little bit more freely here. But again, we are still on a knife's edge. He does confirm the saturation at the third. He does confirm that Scarlett is droning and that it is not all in. But overall, I do think those Lings did hurt Mixu more than helped him. Likewise, big changeling scout here from Scarlett. Does also confirm that Mixu isn't going mutas. It's always important to check. Muta switches can end games. Those things, they continue to poke back and forth between the bases. From here, we're able to just turtle on up. And we should soon be entering that Roach v Roach phase of the game. I will give Scarlett the edge here. She has a slight worker lead, and she has the upgrade advantage as well. +2 range never started for Mixu, which is concerning. So there's going to be a window available where Scarlett has +2 and Mixu doesn't. Again, these things, they keep checking, just making sure that we're chilling back at home. Behind this, Scarlett, she's joined up to 67. That is the ideal worker count to stop. We have the 4th base. This will just be for Larva, and now Scarlett can focus on nothing but Roach Ravager. Mixu supply blocked. Losing an Overlord. Mixu, he has 5 Overlords on the way, and Scarlett is getting ready to push. Now is not the time to get supply blocked. Oh boy. Speaking of, hopefully the Overlords do survive. Rock's going to be knocked down. And you can see the disparity here in supply. Scarlett didn't waste Larva making Lings. Didn't get supply blocked. Was able to drone up nicely. And we are pushing. Spine Crawlers are on the way. This is going to be a tight hold here for Mixu. Mixu down in army supply. Going to try and force this back. Buying some time. At the same time, we have Scarlett threatening a run by. Mixu is in position. So far, good movement. Good movement out of Mixu. Scarlett pushing through. The Spine Crawler will help. It will help fortify this position. We have to burrow tunneling claws on the way. Scarlett has the free economy here, the free resources to invest. Again, tech-wise, getting further ahead. There's a lot of potential now with tunneling claw roaches. And Mixu, it does feel like he is one step behind. Oh, oh my god. 2 Overlords go down once again, supply blocking Mixu. He needs more. 3 Overlords in production. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. As Scarlett has maxed out. Mixu's still trying to break free from the supply block. No. More Overlords getting picked off. There we go. Mixu does break free. He's no longer supply blocked. Is maxing out. And he will soon catch up in upgrades. +2 is a couple of seconds away. So he will soon even things up. We have +2 carapace on the way from Scarlett, but this is not the most important upgrade. Doesn't give the most value. It is good, but again, not a big power spike. Scarlett is going to be dipping in. Oh, move command a little bit there from Mixu. He's going to lose some extra roaches. We'll be chasing this back though. Does have the defender's advantage. Oof. As Biles do connect. Again, we're still committed to Roach v Roach. No one taking up any further. Nice run by though. Let's go. We somehow sneak a couple of roaches out. 5 drones go down. Very nice pickup. At the same time, Mixu pushing on the right-hand side. Oh, we'll lose another Overlord. Is trying to break in. Oh, do we have detection? We do. Blow is revealed. At the same time, Mixu pushing on the left-hand side as well. 2 armies going to be colliding. The Biles, they connect. They do connect. Mixu having a hard time piecing this all together. He's being forced back on the right. He can take a fight here in the center of the map. So let's try to get on top of some of those roaches and ravagers. He's going for a run by instead. A bold move, just ignoring the army, going straight for the natural, straight for the main. Pushing on both ends as well, trying to pull Scarlett apart, but Scarlett, she is keeping up. The roaches in the main are causing a bit of chaos, but they're spine crawlers. We have spine crawlers in the mineral lines. Scarlett has plenty of sack defense, and she is swatting Mixu away at every turn. And Scarlett has a bank, Mixu does not. Again, Mixu has had a bit of a worse economy for longer. Scarlett, she is breaking through. Mixu out of position. Not like this, out of position. Spine Crawler going to be going down. Roach as well. Sorry, Queen as well. There's a couple of roaches going to be tunneling into the natural. And slick moves here out of Scarlett. Tunneling claw roaches here, getting into almost every mineral line. Slipping into the natural, slipping into the main. Drones are going to be going down. Now Scarlett can focus on her main push. Oh, the roaches! Has a bit of a move command there from Mixu. Does bleed out a lot of units. Biles, they take down some of the Overseers. Not bad. Mixu forcing Scarlett to turn back around. But he's getting surrounded. We have reinforcements. We have so much tank defense. Oh my god. So many spine crawlers here to defend. Scarlett aware of the potential for these run-bys. Takes some Biles to the face. But Scarlett has crippled the economy here of Mixu. Mixu down to 55 drones. Getting out some more units. Oh, the Biles. Again, good Biles. Good connections here from Mixu. More drones going down though. Another 2 workers. Scarlett going for another big counterattack as well. Again, Mixu has been bleeding out a little bit too much at this point. It's still Roach v Roach. There's still potential, but because of all these spine crawlers that are being set up, because of all the sack defense, it's so difficult for Mixu to actually find any damage. Like, even if he had tunneling claw roaches, there are spine crawlers everywhere. With that Scarlett, she dives on top of the Roach Warren. We'll be able to snipe it. We'll shut it down. At the same time, pushing on in, we can potentially get the base. Pile down some of the eggs. We have Infestation Mid on the way. That's going to be for Hive Tech, for 3-3, and for eventually Hydras, Lurkers, and Vipers. We can tech up if need be. Mixu desperately trying to hold on here to its fringe bases. And he is holding. Did lose a lot of drones. He is holding on. Again, just because of the nature of Hecate, I should have also mentioned this as well. There are a lot of choke points. There's a lot of points of elevation, a lot of ramps. It can be very difficult to, even when you have a supply advantage, to push up a ramp and actually break your opponent that's defending. Can be very difficult. Oh, the Biles! They do connect. Once again here on Mixu. 7 drones go down. A very successful counterattack. Very nicely done. Mixu does kill 7 workers. The Biles! Down another Overlord. We're just pushing out on the right-hand side. Scarlett, though, has been trading more efficiently. Oh! Barring for a moment, but we have detection. Oh, Scarlett bleeding a lot of roaches here, pushing on the right-hand side, getting us over the roaches here of Mixu. And you can see the bank. That just goes to show how efficient Scarlett has been. We have 6k, 2k in the bank. She can lose an army and remax. Mixu cannot. Ooh, as we do once again, did we snipe the detection? No shot. I just realized the Overseer no longer here, which means we can burrow like that. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, we're going to be able to run past the army. Mixu has to replace that detection, has to replace those Overseers, has one back at home. But not with the main army. Ay, ay, ay. We need detection. Where are the scans? As there we go, we have an Overseer as well. I just realized as well that Mixu doesn't have Overlord speed. That's why he's had such a hard time. There's no pneumatized carapace, no Overlord speed. His Overseer is having a hard time keeping up. And here we go. Now Scarlett going for the kill at this point. Up 70 supply. Is again playing very carefully overall. Still has roaches harassing you towards the left hand side. Still has roaches or even detection in the main. You can see how difficult it is to push up these ramps. And File does connect. Scarlett looking for another way up, and there we go. We do find a way up the ramp. We can push in. We can now commit. This time Mixu did not have an Overlord in position. Unable to keep up. Now Mixu doesn't have that high ground advantage. Roach is going to be slipping in. Overseer barely out of position. We have Roaches once again unburring here at the fort. And GG gets called. It's just too much. Mixu pulled apart left and right. And Scarlett will take the series 2-1, taking down Mixu. GG. GG, well played. Scarlett does take it here in the end, but a shout out to Mixu. Mixu did force the ace match. Did look damn good in game number 2. But in game 3 here, off of the 12 pool, Mixu was struggling a little bit. I mentioned before that he was having a hard time. Or he did overinvest into Lings, I feel. He made a massive wave of Lings and didn't do anything with them. Or he had a really hard time achieving much value with them when most of them could have been drones. We could have taken a stronger economic lead there, a stronger advantage, been able to keep up and even overtake Scarlett when it came to the overall macro. But again, did feel like he overinvested a little bit too much early on. And once Scarlett got into the swing of things, once she got into 3-base economy, yeah, was able to take a lead and run with it as well. But the economy of Scarlett was insane. Again, she had so much resources in the bank. Was just trading so well overall. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Scarlett. Does take the series here, but a shout out to Mixu for forcing the ace match, fighting back, and to have his moments in this series. Good stuff overall. Catching up. But with that, we are going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here as we have reached the halfway mark here in the broadcast. We're covering 5 best of 3s in total here, and we're halfway there. We just wrapped up with Raider versus Mixu, Rainer versus Trigger, and Scarlett versus Mixu as well. Up next, after the break, again, I'm running out of water. Well, water would be nice, you know. Don't forget to hydrate your hydras and stretch your roaches. But again, up next, we do have a TVP and a TVZ. Hero Marine is also a part of this group, is also going to get involved. And up next, he's going to be going up against the Canadian players here of Trigger and Scarlett. Oh boy. So some big matches coming up next. We'll be here in a couple of minutes after the break. Again, take this moment to get some water, get some snacks, stretch, posture check, of course, posture check, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you soon.